Recently, a lot of dancers have come forward with allegations about the way that Lizzo has treated them.
And as roadies working on Lizzo's tour, we saw firsthand what kind of monster she can be. So in solidarity, we have prepared a statement.
In 2022, while on tour with Lizzo, I personally was in charge of preparing her rider. And on April 4th, when I was backing up the third grocery truck, she smashed the driver's side window, unclothed, foaming at the mouth, grabbed me by the collar, and threatened to blackball me in the live touring industry if we had a repeat of yesterday, in which she claims one of the slates of Oreos had been dented while being lowered by the forklift.
Some of the backup dancers have gone public with their forcible confinement accusations, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. On March 3rd, 2022, I was put in charge of her pre-snack feeding, and because the crew had skipped lunch that day, I thought it might be fine if I grabbed a croissant from the industrial pastry bucket. At that point, she had her personal cuisine security lock me in the auxiliary macaroon closet, saying that by taking those calories from her, I was putting her life in danger.
As the report stated, I personally witnessed on several occasions her weight shaming the dancers. Reason being, if one of them put on a few pounds, she assumed they had broken into the hoagie den. Even though it was on 24-hour surveillance, there was no evidence of anyone triggering the laser sensors or attempting to access the retinal scanner. And none of the armed guards had seen anyone try to ascertain any of the chili dogs. It was at this point Lizzo started weighing everyone before and after entering the building.
Finally, that brings us to the banana incident. In accordance with the no fruits and vegetables policy on tour, some of the dancers came up with the idea to smuggle in some fruits through a stripper's private parts in an attempt to ingest some vitamins.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
But at around 3:34 p.m., Lizzo smelled the fruits, began vomiting, and ordered a full cavity search of anyone on premises. Once the banana was located, she launched a full-scale interrogation and proceeded to make an example of that particular dancer by demanding the banana go down her throat in an attempt to make her puke also, and then locked her into the auxiliary macaroon closet.
All that being said, I do also want to state that the two of us still do believe Lizzo to be a queen.
The boys.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The lads.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for BOYSCAST.
The bros.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The homies.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Experience the BOYSCAST.
The BOYSCAST.
And we are here at the BOYSCAST with the man, the legend, Yannis Papas in the studio. Woo! That's the crowd cheering.
What's up?
My crowd's going wild.
My two favorite Canucks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
And this was a week that a ton of stuff happened too, so I feel like it's good to get your opinion on all this shit.
Yeah, what's going on? Because I'm zoned out.
Are you tapped out?
I'm
of life?
tapped
kids,
out,
right?
dude.
You got-
I'm out. Yeah.
You got what, a new one, right?
I'm out. Yeah, I got submitted.
I feel
I'm
like-
out. Yeah.
I feel like you say you're tapped out, but then I check your Twitter and you seem pretty tapped in.
I'm tapped in. And by tapped in, you mean mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny when people come see me live and they also follow me on Twitter and they go like, you seem like two different people. And it's like, that is two different parts of my brain. One is like
Interesting.
destructive and obsessive and negative, and then the other one's
That's
like,
the Twitter one?
That's the Twitter one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're all gonna die, and it's Armageddon's happening, and you know.
I think everyone's alter ego a little bit. Well, there only is, Twitter's the only one that the whole point of it, like, okay, if you make stuff on YouTube, right, it's like people that like you seeing it. Pretty much most platforms are that. Twitter's the only one that people follow a lot of people they hate.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what there needs to be one purge app where you just let it all out.
It's, yeah.
And like, you know,
It's a rage room, digital rage room.
Yeah, like Twitter should be and stay. I guess it's now called X since Elon Musk has gone NWO.
Yeah.
He's done the Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan switch. It should be the one site where you can go and be like, fuck you, fuck you.
I mean, it's pretty hard to get kicked off of there.
Yeah.
It kind of is that.
It
now.
is kinda nice.
You got to say some wild shit.
I think you got to kill a Jew on camera live. I think it's the only thing. And then Elon still says, I think it's debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did the Jew say? He's gone. Yeah, you can see swastikas
Oh,
You don't even.
How much did he
Yeah,
raise
you
the
don't even have
interest
to put
rate?
him in a search bar.
someone actually, that famous Chinese artist, that dude Ai Weiwei or whatever. He's like this most famous Chinese artist, and then he posted this GIF, and it was the X logo spinning, turning into a swastika, like literally, and then like turning back, and he's just like, here you go, like they
What was
believe
his
that.
point of it? He was
that,
saying
that he's like
Twitter's
Elon Musk
Nazi
is
now.
a
He's just,
Nazi.
he's just probably part of it too. Is just like he's going to let it happen. I think there's a lot of trolling going on where it's like I'm going to just throw that up because I know you're not going to take it down and test what test how much of a free speech absolutionist you really are.
Yeah.
You know.
There's, I guess, and then the other side is like, yeah, there's a bunch of people posting like legitimately that the world's over now that now that speech is fucking out there.
Yeah, I like the what's that dude? Ron Perlman. Is that the guy from Sons of Anarchy?
Ron Perlman's been great.
He's the most insane guy on Twitter because he's like once a week he goes, "I'll see everybody on Threads." Last tweet of all time, and then he's like, "All right, I'm back. Why is this called X now?"
It's like it's like a girl he just can't get over.
Yeah.
Did you
Good
see
follows are Rob Reiner. Rob
Yeah.
Reiner's a good follow,
Yes.
like because you're like, dude, what is? Aren't you like Rob Reiner?
Yeah.
Why? Are you
No, he
like,
was
You're like
Rob Reiner.
addicted to Trump. He's like everybody's like,
got-
Trump. We gotta get him out. Vote. January 6th. That was an attack on our country. He's sitting there
He's-
in Beverly Hills like, ah.
Yeah, he's the type of guy too where like I'm not like a Trump guy, but when I see guys like that, I go like I want Trump to win literally 100% of the vote. Only him voting against him.
Whenever
just
I
for-
go to John Cusack's Twitter, I'm like Trump 2024 because I just want to see fucking John Cusack finally close his mouth in anger.
Yeah.
Have you noticed in every movie his mouth is always open? John Cusack is always his mouth's always ajar. It's always just like a little open. And he's the same. It's just Trump. Every fucking.
It's crazy.
Well, I guess speaking of him, what do you think as a real New Yorker?
Yeah.
Trump's actually got indicted on all this stuff.
Yeah. He's probably guilty of it too.
I told
but
you he's tapped
You can't
in.
say that on the internet. The internet is Trump.
Yeah.
The internet is like Trump. It's RFK is fucking the god of COVID. That's the internet. So if you
Yeah.
say it, like that's where these guys are popular. But he probably did a lot of that shit. I mean, he
Oh,
probably,
I mean, there's like,
Yeah.
look, there is no way that you're like Trump has never committed a crime.
Yeah.
like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that for every politician. So to say that like he's not, I mean, all the Biden stuff that's coming out is pretty insane with him and like Hunter Biden and all that stuff. So you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it did seem like he was saying and tweeting, "I didn't lose this; it was stolen." He did call attorney generals here and there and go, "Hey, just let's figure this out."
Yeah.
recount it.
Well, this is the part I sort of don't get.
And they're going to now Giuliani because they had 6 unnamed co-conspirators,
Dude.
and Giuliani's for sure number one.
You know what's funny is they said that first of all, how come Hillary never got in trouble for like the fake paying for the fake dossier, the Russiagate peeing on Trump? That was all bullshit.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
protected, dude.
They got DNC. I think
They're
got a
good to
fine
go.
for that.
Yeah, they got a
was
fine for
it.
that. Well-
how's that legal to do that?
Well, they have different laws.
Isn't that election tampering?
I mean,
to
what
make
We're just
something
asking
up?
literally
questions.
you are saying why people are like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump
Yeah.
because of fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Like I'm voting for Trump.
And they have a point because they're like, how come there's no consequences for that?
Yeah.
And
No,
then
they're a free game.
yeah, there's just free game. But, and then on the other side, yeah, I mean, Giuliani, I was saying like everyone said that Trump was bought by Russia, especially the left. But it's like, I think the person who has something over something is Trump has something over Giuliani.
Yeah.
He's got Giuliani peeing on a hooker or having a weekend in Thailand, taking a walk on the wild side, because that dude has become Trump's puppet.
It is crazy
It's like a
'cause
fall from grace that is wild to watch.
And he could have stayed in that like zone as the New York 9/11 hero forever.
Ever.
He didn't ever have to
He was
leave
sort of,
that.
yeah.
He never had to leave that. And he goes like, there's a level above this that's like federal, and I'm gonna try and get a taste of that, and he ruined the whole thing.
He stayed too long. He stayed too long, man.
Like he's like,
I did sort of
like
what
if he goes to a
happened.
Yankees game right now, he gets booed out of the building.
Yeah.
Like you know how crazy that
It is crazy. He was America's mayor. He was the most popular mayor. He could have been doing merch right now. He could have been doing 9/11 tours.
Yeah.
Big tours.
I mean, dude.
We gotta sign baseball of him right here.
Yeah, instead he's like sweating out his makeup and talking like fucking defending Trump at all costs.
He's like in the Borat movie.
Also, when you go all in on that sort of stuff, though, like, what's his other option at this point? You know what I mean?
Who?
Giuliani.
Nothing. I'm saying
That's
he
what I'm
never,
saying,
he never
though.
had
He's
to
in
get.
a-
No, now he's in too deep.
Does anybody want to go to fucking Monaco anymore? Does anyone want to go chill in Switzerland and burn Switzerland and eat
South
chocolate?
of France?
Yeah. Does anyone want to retire?
No.
Is anyone interested in their family or friends at all? Or do we just fucking work till we're 90? I mean, this fucking guy, Mitch McConnell's 96.
You know what it is,
He's
though?
flatlined on camera.
Crazy.
Like, why is he still working?
You know what it is? It's that, and I don't think like any normal person can really understand. But when you have that kind of power, it's really hard to let go of. Like, Dianne Feinstein. Did you see her the other day?
She's 90.
She's literally, she was like, they go, you have to vote, and then she's like so disheveled. She's what is it in South Park, like Kyle's grandfather or Stan's grandfather, where he's like in the chair, and they're like, what do you think? And then she starts rambling, and then the guy goes, just say yay. And he's like, what? It's like, just please say yay. It's like in front of 300 people, in a room, and he's like, just say yay, and she's like, what? He's like, just say yay. He goes, yay. And they just like move on. You're like, this chick's running.
No, your literal only option if you're past 80 is you can be a Walmart greeter or the president.
Why do you have to work when you're past 80? These are all multi-millionaires.
I don't, it's very, and it's funny.
Power. It's
the
just-
Democrats are about to make the same mistake that they made, Ruth Bader Ginsburg made when Obama sat her down and said, hey, can we interest you in a paid vacation
She goes,
forever?
I'm not going nowhere.
Not going anywhere. And that's what's going to happen with, the only reason why Trump might have a chance and win this is because Biden, people are just like, dude, the guy's senile, man. Like, he's not, there's nobody home.
Yeah,
Like,
I've heard a theory that they actually want Trump. They think Trump actually has less of a chance against Biden.
I think
that's a theory for
That's-
sure that's
yeah.
going around.
I think they're miscalculating. I mean,
Yeah.
if they got some boring, no mistake white guy,
For sure.
old school, skull and bones, John Kerry like,
Yeah.
just you fall asleep listening to him, but then there's no scandals. That's what we need. Is just like a guy who's so the opposite of lit right now. Just like
It doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, just like who can talk, who doesn't like call someone a fucking China head or whatever.
pedophile.
Yeah, whatever
or, like,
Trump
whatever.
is saying, or Biden's just going, where am I, or whatever. You just need someone who's just like,
just
totally normal.
Yeah, just an
and
old school
boring.
politician.
If
Yeah.
they dragged him out, he would win it. People are so hungry for that. I think right now is just they want to give that job back to comedians and entertainers. They want to be like, I do not want DC to continue to be more entertaining than my entertainment.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really that's
reasonable.
what's happened.
Do you know what Joe Biden's new slogan is? I just saw they announced it. It's finish the job. And I was like, doesn't that sound like a slogan that you'd like tell an old guy that kind of forgets what he's doing?
Yeah.
It's like finish the job is like written on the mirror. Like, come on. Like it does feel like that. That doesn't seem like the slogan you want for a 9-year-old guy.
Yeah. His
Like
legs
what God's going to do to him.
Yeah, his administration is probably a lot like Memento, the movie, where they're just writing notes from everywhere. It's actually my mother
takes his
had
shirt
a-
off. It's all written backwards.
Remember,
in there.
yeah, there's it's
Social Security.
yeah. Check in on potential world war that you may cause.
There is on top of that the thing where it's like you hear, it's all the, are you a millennial?
No,
So
I'm
Gen X?
Gen X.
Gen X,
Yeah.
but it's like, these generations got participation trophies and can't get jobs. And it was like, yeah, because you won't retire.
It's really what it is.
It's like they refuse to retire.
Dude, it's really crazy. I think there's something to that. Like I think America's so about work. You ever notice that?
Oh, for sure.
You guys are Canadian, so you have that perspective, right? I go to Canada, it's different too. It's like, it's not all about like, what do you do? It's like, that's the question. That's the only question in America. I would go do shows in Scandinavia, and it would be like the 20th question they asked you.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what do you do? Is like, it's like your job. It's not who you are. But here, it's like our identity. And like, if we feel like we're not working, we're going to be depressed. It's like, damn, what about fun? What about like,
Yeah, they have
hanging
like
out?
15 weeks vacation a year,
Yeah.
and they're like, that's normal. They're like, what? You only have 2 weeks off?
Yeah, here we got Gary Vee like fucking like a slave driver going grind, 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 grind. I saw this one video recently. It was like, it's August. Everyone's off. Time for you to be on.
Yeah, he's like, I'm at a garage
How
sale.
much do you want it? How much do you want it? It's August. I mean, I was watching this going, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Give people a break. This bitch just squeezed out a fucking baby out of her pussy. Can she take a nap?
No.
Or does she have to fucking get on Facebook right now? And sell her jewelry or whatever. I mean, you can find the video. It's so funny. him talking about August. He goes, I fucking love August, man. I fucking love it. It's like this is the time when to sleep. This is the time you find out how much you fucking want. While everyone else is sleeping, you fucking get in there. You double. He even goes, you double down. I'm so sick of hearing him say double down.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up, dude. Some people just want better benefits. Not everyone.
Yeah, not everybody's trying to be like owning the Jets.
Yeah, not everyone's fucking trying to be an entrepreneur, man. Comes with a lot of stress too.
Yeah, to be honest, I have a little too much suffering from the Gary V Americanism. I just finished like a crazy amount of touring, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like take some days off, and then I just sort of was like walking around Stuytown, and I was just like, by like 3, I was like, what are we doing? I'm just bopping around the park.
Yeah.
At one point, I was sitting there, it's just like me and 3 old people sitting in the park. I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm just like, I think I'm gonna go make a sketch.
Yeah, I got to do something. Well, it's interesting because you guys probably came here in order to grind more because there's such a low ceiling in Canada. And probably Mark Breslin takes 20% of everything you do. Film it. I'm working in
Takes
Canada
20%
anyway.
of 10.
That's the guy right
nothing.
there.
You want to have a birthday party? He's like, you got to do it through Yuck Yucks, or you can't work in Canada. How did he turn into fucking the mafia up there? Every time I talk to comics up there over the past 20 years, it's like, yeah, I did a room and I got banned from Yuck Yucks, and now I'm homeless.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus
But
Christ.
also, like, the headliners are like, we're also homeless, so it's kind of like a tough one.
Yeah,
it's not like the headliners are like fucking Scrooge McDuck
Right.
in the gold pool.
They're like, you could make 42,000 Canadian dollars touring Yuck Yucks and doing fucking Hamilton 18 times and Ajax and.
Speaking of Canada, Justin Trudeau, which was sort of a hot topic today, but you're familiar, obviously. He
With the guy, yeah.
he's a buddy of yours, but he just announced today that he's getting divorced from his wife.
He's getting divorced from his wife.
Yeah.
well, he said separate.
And it kind of got me thinking, has there ever been like a president that didn't have a wife?
Yeah, his dad, Pierre
The only
Trudeau.
other one?
Pierre.
You sort of have to have a wife, though. It's part of the package,
Yeah.
it seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, no, Pierre Trudeau. They got divorced while he was in office because his mom, Justin Trudeau's mom, was like out there fucking Mick Jagger
Stones.
and
Castro.
and Castro. Yeah.
Yeah, Castro, right? He does look like him a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
I like that
pretty-
conspiracy. Yeah.
It's pretty uncanny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a guy that's already maybe the worst prime minister in the history of the world, and now he's like going through a divorce while he's at it. Because now think about this, he's trying to attract pussy because he's already doing like, pure girl policies on everything.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to get pussy. He's going to be like, that's going to be crazy.
What if he comes out as gay?
There's some speculation
Then
that
he'll
he might
win again. My question to you guys.
come out as gayer.
King of Canada.
Yeah, you mean if he came out as gayer? Let me ask you a question. How does he keep winning then if everyone just keeps saying he's like the
It's like
worst?
apathy.
No,
Yeah,
it's
what is it?
in Canada. It's the same way that imagine like California. You could have like the worst Republican. They're still going to vote the Democrat.
And you don't
It's
need
just that.
You don't
know
need
what I
a
mean?
majority because there's so much. So he made a deal with the NDP, and so they have a deal where they basically share power, kind of. But he gets to be the prime minister, so he's not like a majority. Like I think maybe a third of the country voted for him.
Right. Interesting. That's how it
Yeah.
works up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
But also, like the conservatives always just put up some goober
Right.
who like nobody really is excited about.
right. And Canada, like conservatives are like what? They're like
Democrats here.
they're like Obama Democrats
Yeah,
here, right?
basically.
Like you could never go like let's get rid of healthcare, or like you can never go
No,
like
that's off the table.
You can never go like no social services for the homeless. Just let charity do
They're
it.
basically the conservatives in Canada are like, remember when Obama didn't believe in gay marriage? That's like that version of Obama.
Right.
That's like a conservative. It was when Obama back then was like, yeah, I don't marriage between a man and a woman.
Like you couldn't even suggest touching the healthcare. Even conservatives
No.
wouldn't. That's so embedded.
off the table.
Everyone is like everyone's on board with that.
Although there is some stuff now that I keep seeing out of Canada where like there was in Calgary, some clinic just put out a thing where if you wanted to get access to this clinic, which is like, it's supposed to be, socialized, and it was like $4,500 a year that you had to pay for a family of 2 to basically get like priority access to this clinic essentially.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it was legal what they were doing, but they just got shut down because it kind of goes against.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
It's so interesting. It just lets you know that there's always problems because, like, as an American and a New Yorker who grew up in like a pretty lopsided New York, rich and very poor 80s and stuff, and obviously you could see how bad poverty can get here. Whenever I go to Canada, I like purposefully walk around to try to go to the worst place. and it's like it's just not that bad in comparison.
I don't know. You probably aren't. You weren't going to the real hood.
Is there real stuff?
Oh yeah,
Toronto's like a pretty big murder capital.
bad parts of like Winnipeg or something.
Yo, dude, you don't even know what it's like on those streets, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to here. No.
So you grew up Bay Ridges?
No, Park Slope. Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up proper, like, kind of like New York, what people think of New York.
Yeah, where I grew up was like kind of like baby boomers who were like hippies carved out Park Slope as like, and they were like the gentrifiers of that. Was like a working class at the time. It was like a working class Irish, Puerto Ricans down lower, Irish Italian neighborhood. A lot of cops lived there. They still have the St. Patty's Day parade down Prospect Park West. It's the only other one. They have one in Bay Ridge. They have one
good
there.
Old boys kicking around.
And then all like the hippie kids when they grew up and the baby boomers, they had kids. They moved there. They sort of gentrified Park Slope again, and then yuppies came mid '90s, 2000s, and then now it's like through the roof. But where I grew up was pretty good. It was good, but the circumference of what was good was much smaller.
Yeah.
So it's like you went like 8 blocks one way, 3 blocks the other way. You were just in very bad. That's what New York was like back then. It was just pockets. Like even the Upper West Side was like block to block. You'd be like, one block it was pretty good, then you went to another block and it was like that. The Lower East Side, forget it, was like horrible.
Let me ask you a question. What was the most dangerous race? Because it's like you'd think, like, you
What?
know what I mean? What was
The fuck? You think I'm going to answer that question and have it recorded?
like if you were to?
Well, I'll answer that when this is off, and I'll answer it
There's
honestly.
one correct answer: the whites.
If you were walking and you saw like a group of 10 guys and they were all one race, what would be the?
As your attorney, I suggest
that's the thing. It's like it's not always what you think, right?
Right.
What do you think it is?
Well, I thought you might surprise me. You might be like, no,
it's
in
like it
our
would've been
area,
like
you
the
didn't want to mess
Irish
with
or
the Puerto
something,
Ricans.
or
A lot of, I remember, I'll tell you what, like I always mention this, but at my school, it was like black guys kind of ran stuff. But then there's like all these fights and the Italian guys kind of started to fight with the like Indian dudes, but like Tamil dudes, and those guys just like came to our school and just like mopped the floor with everyone.
Yeah.
And so it's like everyone knew it was like that was the one group you actually don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't have the Indians yet. They're newer. But like in Toronto,
They
I go
take
there.
over too.
Toronto, it's
Brampton,
just
it's
fucking Indian dudes in Toronto Blue
Dude, they have
Jays hats
fights
everywhere.
in parking lots with fucking machetes.
Yeah. Do they wear curly shoes when they do it?
I mean, they literally all carry daggers.
Yeah.
It's part of their religion.
Yeah, the Indians, they weren't a lot. We had Arabs, we had, Puerto Ricans are huge in New York, Dominicans, you had black, you had Italian, you had Irish, Jews.
Irish seemed like they had a moment where they were dangerous. They don't really have
The funniest
none of
is
that
like when you
anymore.
ask like really old people, like somebody who's like 90 who you're worried about, and they're like the Protestants.
Yeah.
It's like if you turn the block and there are a bunch of Protestants there.
You ask my mom, she'd say the Nazis. 'Cause she lived under Nazi occupation. Yeah. It's interesting. And, when you grow up in New York, you're very influenced. I'm very influenced by, like, Puerto Rican, black, Italian. Those are probably the
I can
biggest.
see all
Puerto
that in
Ricans
you.
love being Puerto Rican.
Oh,
It's I've seen it now twice in 2 separate areas. I used to live in the East Village, and now I live in Brooklyn. And I've seen 2 separate Puerto Rican like in the East Village where they had this van, and it was a van, like a giant panel van that was beside scaffolding, and they just hung out there like every day.
Yeah.
Just they had their Puerto Rican flags. They would just have lawn chairs, but they're on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Rain or shine. Summer or winter, doesn't matter.
It's
just
their
like,
Hamptons, yeah.
It's their Hamptons. It's like a social club. And then there's by my house now, there's like this just like garage door that just like opens, like looks like an industrial thing. And that's like their hangout there too. And they all just like hang out.
Oh yeah, they had some Puerto Rican social clubs. There was one by my friend's house. They would sit on egg crates. They'd play dominoes. They had a pet pigeon.
Oh,
pigeon. It was really
Pet pigeons,
Yeah,
nuts.
but you know what's interesting? I thought about all 3 of those: Jews, Italians, blacks. I think are probably the 3 biggest influences in New York. And Irish are just as much a population, but there's no influence because they don't do anything.
The cops.
There's just like nothing. Like
Yeah.
what's Irish?
Pubs,
firefighters,
I
Just like dealing with trauma quietly. Like I don't know, they drink it down. I don't know. There's no cultural. They haven't contributed anything.
The only-
bagpipes are Scottish. They're not even Irish.
Yeah.
they had to borrow that from fucking another island. So it's like they're just like
Patties is like the only thing I know.
they're a silent partner.
Bar.
They're a silent partner culturally. There's not. Yeah, you go into a bar. It's like, but that's Irish?
I
Just like a
guess.
bar with a fucking beer.
They do own a lot of bars
Yeah,
here.
even their food is fucking Indian. It's curry chicken or
that
whatever.
is- yeah.
They're just,
Irish food said that.
yeah, they're just bland.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just-
Yeah, my Irish family is very well, like half of them died of drug overdoses and like all that sort of shit. And then my family that's like super multicultural, like black, white, Indian, stuff like that, all kind of doing well.
What do you got in there?
I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the other day, pretty funny, when like my multicultural family went one Christmas to see Django Unchained and just how awkward it was. We're all cheering at their different parts. No,
Yeah, whoa, hey. Well, I'm a little bit over there, but I'm also a little over there.
I think
I'm torn. It's like watching the Ball brothers on different teams being there. It's like watching Venus and Serena as their dad. Like, I'm happy here, I'm happy here. I don't know.
Well, my grandfather was like they were like jazz musicians, so I think that was like being the white rapper back in the day, you know what I mean?
Right.
He was like the Eminem of his time.
Right.
In the
Wow.
jazz, yeah, he was in the jazz encyclopedia.
So you got some black
under
in you.
racist jazz musicians.
Oh, you got white.
The ones that didn't smoke weed.
Yeah.
That kind of was being a white jazz musician back in the day was sort of like being a white rapper now. I think a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Just because of a black thing.
Yeah, there's probably like some Eminem level jazz guy who like exposed jazz to the white crowd, made like $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
I gotta tell the people about Babbel. If we've been telling you, but this summer you can start speaking a new language with Babbel. You might be asking why Babbel? Well, because it works. That's why.
Yes, it does. I've been using it to speak with my soon-to-be 98-year-old Russian grandmother, who I'm going to be going to visit in about a week from now. I've been boning up on my Russian because she doesn't speak any English.
98's wild.
I know, she's so old. It's crazy.
So yes, so you've been sort of
And I mean, I've been trying to get her to learn English, but that's probably not fair. So
98's not happening, right?
no, not happening in 98. So, I've been boning up on it, and I think she'll be pretty pumped.
Sort of a show-off move too, a little bit.
Oh yeah, especially I love to travel, and like that's the best is when you're going traveling. If you go travel and you know a little bit of the local language, you get so much love from people there, and it's just the move to do. And generally you're flying over there, you got to spend all this time on a flight. You got time on the subway, your commute every day. It's like I just do it like 5 minutes a day. Like you don't have to do like an hour every day. Like it's literally like they have these little lessons. You just say like I want to do it 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever, and it's just like they tailor it for you. So it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's conversation-based learning built with science-backed cognitive tools like spaced repetition, interactive lessons created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel's advanced speech recognition is like having your own personal language coach to help you improve your pronunciation, to get prepped and confident for real-world conversations. Babbel's wide range of learning experiences, ranging from casual, which is what you're doing, to intense, which also might be what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know about intense, but definitely let's start with casual.
Means there's always a way to fit in a Babbel session. From self-study app lessons to podcasts to live classes. If you're serious about speaking another language, what Babbel can promise you are useful language skills along with learning the context, traditions, and culture the language you're learning is grounded in. So it's developed by 150 expert linguists. Babbel gives you unlimited access to hundreds of award-winning lessons designed for all learners based on level of time and commitment. So here's the limited special deal for our listeners to get you started right now. And that deal is 55% off your Babbel subscription for only our listeners. Babbel.com/boyscast. Get 55% off. Babbel.com/boyscast, spelled BABBEL.com/boyscast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
That is really funny. Like my favorite story when it comes to actual cultural appropriation, which is true, but it was done by a black guy. It's one of the best stories. Just a guy going, I'm going to make a lot of money. He was New Edition's manager. Now, New Edition was Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, Belle Biv DeVoe, whatever, and they were incredible. They were like talented kids. They had a bunch of hits. They were from Boston. They were poor black kids that were picked because of their talent, not because of their faces or whatever. So the manager of New Edition saw that like white people like wouldn't, like especially in Boston, like the white parents would be like, you can't fucking, you're not going to see that.
That was kind of like Elvis and stuff.
Yeah,
too,
like
right?
so then the manager of New Edition was like, I'm just gonna make another band like this, and they're white. So he picked fucking Donnie Wahlberg, and that he made.
Oh, that was New Kids?
New Kids. He put together New Kids in the Block, and it's just they blew up, and he made a ton of money. And it's just like he picked them, nothing to do with their talent. He's like, yeah, you're the tough one, you're the faggoty one, you're the sensitive one, you're the Izzy gay one, and just fucking go. Just go, hang in tough. And it's just the worst music. And then you go listen to New Edition, and you can enjoy it now as an adult. And these guys were like 12 doing it. It's like fucking.
They were actually good.
Yeah, and it's just.
It's the opposite of what they do now when they take like a bunch of like white college girls' opinions and they're like, let's get black guys saying this. That's a TV show.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I think it's a lot like living in nature. Now that I live in nature, I can compare it to Brooklyn a little bit as far as danger goes. You see a pack of coyotes, bad.
Yeah.
You see one coyote, not so bad.
You got coyotes where you're at?
I see a pack of white guys, I'm not scared. I see one white guy late at night,
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
What's he doing alone? Why is he out here? Okay? Conversely, I see one black or Puerto Rican guy. I'm not upset. He's out there, he's taking a walk. I'd say hello. I see 50 of them.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble, like coyotes.
Yeah, 50 white guys, they're going to force you to take a shot or something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. They're like, hey, come with us. We're going bar hopping. And Italians,
so funny.
same thing. One Italian fine, pack of Italians. And when we were growing up, the Italians were horrible.
The more matching the suits are, the more dangerous, too.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, they wore starter jackets. The funny thing was, the Italians in New York growing up were really racist, but they dressed exactly like blacks. So they'd be like, you got to get these fucking blacks out of my neighborhood. But they did it with like a flat top and like cuts in their eyebrows and a starter jacket. And they're like, fucking blacks are horrible. And they're like, yo, but put on that fucking Nas. I like that shit right there. You know, and then we'd listen to rap and be like, fucking blacks. And nobody wanted to be black more than them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You are right, though. Irish people have really not contributed.
So, like, I was thinking about
I think the ones that did blended in, sort of, too.
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy Sergio about that the other day. Very funny comic, Sergio Ciccone, and we just started cracking up about that because like, yeah, like in New York, you are heavily influenced by Italian, Jews, blacks. They're massive influences. Bagels, knishes, just Jewish culture, Italians, food, the way they talk. I mean, the New York accent is very Italian.
I know.
And then the blacks, the music, breakdancing, rap, fucking the lingo. And then you're like Irish, and you're like,
Because
a beer.
even like the black guys were into into the mob movies,
They
right?
love it, dude.
So it really did, kind of.
Yeah, nobody's watching the Brothers McMullen and going like, you know, there's not a bunch of black dudes like, yo, throw on fucking Ed Burns, the shit that made Ed Burns poppin'.
Was it Riverdance or
Yeah,
whatever?
throw on a fucking, you know that love story? The Irish guys got the guitar, they shot it on a fucking first.
We sort of made a comeback though, because like Peaky Blinders was sick, like Conor McGregor sort of. There was almost recently there was more Irish guys putting it out there.
Yeah, but let's be honest, Conor McGregor did bring you guys back, but he brought you guys back acting black.
Fuck.
Yeah, he wasn't out there like, you know, he wasn't talking.
Like none of that shit.
And he wasn't like talking shit the way the travelers do. You ever see those traveler videos with the families?
Like the gypsies?
Yeah, the gypsies.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
those bare knuckle fights. and
Gypsies are cool.
They make those, and that's the Irish way. They're like, you said something about my mother 10 years ago. Now we're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
And it's just like very
And then we're
Irish.
gonna shake hands
Yeah,
and
then
have
we're
a
gonna
beer.
shake hands like Irishmen after we fist a cup. And then you see Conor McGregor's got like a pimp jacket on.
Yeah.
He's like walking into Big E, you know, he calls himself the Notorious. So even there, you're like, Irish got nothing original to contribute. When I found out the fucking bagpipes were Scottish, I was like, whoa.
And that's
not even yours. And you guys
they
have
suck.
parades. They
Yeah.
do parades with Scottish shit.
That is true.
And everyone just thinks it's Irish, but it's not even fucking Irish. It's crazy.
tough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Tough out there for
Sorry,
Ryan's people.
yeah, I didn't know you were mostly Irish, but you're all.
I don't take any
Yeah.
credit in being Irish or whatever.
Yeah.
I think my grandparents from that side came over as immigrants, but
Yeah, and you're full chosen.
assimilated to the projects.
Yeah.
Full chosen.
My parents are from Russia, though. Full chosen.
From Russia. Yeah, but a lot of the Jews are in Russia,
Yeah,
right?
tons here.
Yeah.
New York has like, isn't there like Brighton Beach or
You-
whatever? It's
why
like
did
all
you-
Russian people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no, Jews is like, yeah, I couldn't get away from Jews when I was a kid.
Oh, I bet.
Just like, oh, there's Jews everywhere.
Yeah, here it's-
all my
here it's-
girlfriends were Jews. I was like, oh,
Here
Jews.
it's like even
You're like, you know
for-
what? I'm gonna get start comedy to get away from
Yeah.
I honestly,
and there's more of them.
I don't remember the exact figure, but like I want to say half of the Jews in like the world or something are in New York. Or,
Yeah.
like something crazy like that.
I don't think every single girlfriend. Let's see, my two longest girlfriends were Jews. So it was like 6 years and 4 years. You know, it's I've been to I've been to so many bar mitzvahs. I've memorized part of the fucking beginning of the chant
shit, dude.
from going to bar mitzvahs. I mean, we got drunk on the wine when we were 12. That is dope when you go to a bar mitzvah. That's an open bar for children.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like it's an open bar for kids. You just go there and like
You gotta,
12-year-olds are fucking
sneak
drinking.
it in. Yeah, but then you're like, the problem is you're just like throwing up within 2 drinks generally. But
My question is, why do so many Jews go to Russia? Because you guys are always very concerned about
go to Russia?
Yeah, it's cold, and you guys are always like,
I think it was
chilly.
the Holocaust.
Right, that's probably had something to do with it.
Why did you go to Russia? Well, my parents my parents left Russia. They were there.
They were originally, but didn't you guys march up from Sephardia or something?
I honestly
they weren't
don't.
originally Jews in.
I mean, most
Caucasus.
like the thing is like most of the Israelis are like they're European.
Yeah.
Like most of the people who live in Israel are not like they're not like Sephardic like brown skin. They're
Right.
like literally Europeans who just went there after like 1948 or whatever. So I don't know how Jews wound up in Russia. I think they're just there and kind of.
I guess maybe they
moving
didn't have
around.
like a central banking system yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need some help setting that up.
I just
Rothschilds
figure
and
it's like
whatnot.
it's the opposite. If they did go there, it's the opposite of what Jews usually do. Jews
I think they're kind of
very
diaspora.
smart
They're
about.
always just spreading around everywhere. They're always getting kicked out of everywhere.
Yeah, but you guys are very good about avoiding cold weather.
Yeah.
Like climate chasing, like perfect climate chasing.
Yeah.
Snowbirds,
Well,
Jews invented that.
My fucking parents moved to Winnipeg first, so they
Yeah,
fucked that up.
And you became a comedian, so you're not from the bright Jews.
No.
Yeah, those aren't the bright ones.
No. Those bright ones are all in like scrap metal.
Yeah. The ones who went to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Well, we had one thing I want to hear your opinion on is because especially sort of whenever people think of New York, they think of like college kid, you know what I mean? Sort of that's what you think of now. But when I think of actual New York, I think of like you and DeStefano, kind of, right? You know what I mean? That's what I think of. But like they just did a study recently of like high school boys, and it said the gap between grade 12 boys, it was like crazy amount, like 80% or something are conservative now, and the girls, it was like if you look at the line of conservative liberal, the boys went like completely up and the girls
It's
went
like a
completely
full
down.
divergence.
Yeah, and it was like, I guess that's what happened, where it was just because you would think of those people like you can't sell something as like so feminine and expect your average like guy from Brooklyn, like actual like,
I think
New
that
Yorker
would-
type guy to be on board.
I think that would be the case outside of New York, though. Like
Everywhere. No, I
think
just mean that's the type of guy where they're like, it was like a union thing or whatever. I'm like, kind of like that. And then now it was just, they just made it such a girl thing.
Yeah.
The dudes are just like out.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, when you're like 16 years old, you don't want to go with the trends. Generally, you want to go. It's almost just like a rejection of whatever's.
It's kind of become
popular.
the cool thing, the way being liberal used to be. Because
Exactly.
everyone's parents were like a little conservative, and then
That's
you were
true,
like,
too,
Yeah.
we're smoking cigarettes. I'm putting an earring in.
It's like George Bush is the bad guy. He just is like WMDs and killing people in Iraq. So you're like, I'm the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And then people are just like now the opposite of.
It's really
Try a
shitting.
bit of that.
I think it's a little bit shitting on my generation. My generation doesn't get enough credit. We're the generation that broke a
You
lot.
run every tech company.
No, not us. Do we? I think it's above us.
Really? I feel like X is like, Generation X is like Elon, fucking like everyone.
No,
isn't
Zuck's
it?
not. No, Zuck's.
Maybe Zuck's not.
Yeah. How old's Elon? 50? Yeah, I
He's
guess
like-
so.
he's like 50.
Yeah,
He's
Gen
Like
X.
all of the tech guys are X.
Well, there you go. We gave everyone stuff.
yeah.
But we were the first ones, I think, to be like, hey, this is my black friend. We were like the ones that brought to our parents and like, no, this is my friend.
Yeah, he's eating
my-
dinner at the table.
And our parents were like, what? That was us.
Yeah.
We were the first ones who wore like sneakers to school, and they were like, you can't do that. And like, we're doing that.
We're doing
We're
it.
doing it. Like I was a part of that generation that made sneakers common. Clubs, restaurants. It used to be you try to show up to a fucking fancy restaurant in sneakers or a club in sneakers.
Yeah, it's
you couldn't
crazy.
get in. And then like my generation did that, and my generation, we were really the first ones to be like Puerto Rico. We were like integrating.
I think
first.
it's a lot of it is just like because you went to school together, right? Like if
We went
you
to
anyone
school.
you grew up with is like,
Well,
yeah, you're gonna be your
And we
friends
also had
with.
immigrant parents and stuff that were going like, stay away from the blacks. Stay with only your thing. And we were like, nah, dude.
What did
it's
they
cool.
want you to stay with? Just Greeks?
Well, I had like liberal parents, like, but not like annoying liberal parents. They were like, my dad was a Korean War veteran. My mom lived under Nazi occupation. She was a human rights lawyer. So she was like, they weren't like annoying. They were like, my mom was fighting for kids' rights and international rights and like
not like chop your dick off.
Yeah, she wasn't going. She wasn't going like go hang out in a black neighborhood after dark to experience diversity
and not be racist.
No, she was going. They're people, but don't go there after 8.
Yeah, it's like they don't go there after 8.
Yeah, just try to.
You shouldn't.
Yeah, experience their culture at 4:12 p.m. and be home by 5:17.
You know what's kind of making me laugh this week? If you think about kind of like this, all the California stuff, sort of the writers stuff, but also just everything with AI. Like it's sort of turned like California people into rednecks, talking about like they're gonna take our jobs and stuff. It's like instead of build the wall, they're like we need to build the firewall. But it's like it's legitimately they're saying the exact same points.
Unfortunately, though, they're the least sympathetic bunch of people. Like they have for them to try and get sympathy from like people in Middle America, and they're like,
of course.
I can't make $85,000 a year telling you you're bad on some.
But they've been saying forever. The whole point was like, oh, what they're gonna take your job, and then that's kind of like this. They're like they're gonna take our jobs. I mean, it's the South Park episode with the aliens, but it's with robots instead.
Yeah.
Like really,
but also
like,
they don't.
If you actually just look at the rhetoric and remove the aliens or the Mexicans, they're saying the exact same thing right now.
Dude, look, have you ever fucked a pocket pussy?
Yeah.
Have you ever fucked a fleshlight?
Yeah.
It's
sponsored.
It's pretty good.
You liked it?
I mean, I'm saying I liked it. I'm not
I
saying
don't know, it wasn't-
and I'm not saying I fucked
It's
one.
serviceable.
Yeah, as soon as I don't know, it doesn't really struggle for its life when you choke it.
That's the difference. But my point is, the reason why I started there is because when they incorporate that like into an AI person,
Sure,
with like silicone flesh, it's gonna get close.
As long as they can warm that bad boy up.
They need to, but it has to be able to squeal when you do the cigarette.
That'll be an added bonus, you know. That's like if your subscription's up to date or whatever. Then, if your credit card expires, then it stops doing that.
But we could really solve a lot. Like you find out, because we'll be able to find out if kids are sociopaths or psychopaths pretty young.
Yeah,
and they can just put them in a place and give them like sex slave toys, and they can choke them, beat them, throw them.
The problem is that's going to be such an experiment, though, because I think the assumption is you go, let's give them a healthy way to deal with this by just like abusing this.
It's not going to. It's just
a thing, and then maybe in 20 years ago, hey, so it turns out it made them worse, and then they just moved on to people, and that was our bad.
It for sure would.
Well, I don't think
because then they would get the bug,
right?
Well, but I guess the assumption is that they already have this innate in them, and so we're trying to give them
those
like
are the two schools
an
of
acceptable off ramp here.
I think those are the two schools of thought, but I think that school of thought is more wrong, where they're like, you know, if someone's like a pedophile and you're like, oh, give them like pedophile dolls, I think that just more like indulges in that part of their brain, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, think of yourself with like anything. You're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, what would it be? Like even drugs or something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you were just like...
Right, I know what you're saying. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It is a good point he's making, yeah.
Yeah, the more you sort of like, because then you like open your brain. Brains are so...
Yeah,
you know,
like you're
always bring
basically
up the
doing like the
4 minute
AA
mile.
thing, essentially, where you just have to abstain. Like this is who you are, but like you have to abstain.
Well, I mean, even things. Imagine. Okay, here's a perfect example. You're just like, imagine you're someone that like works out every day, right? Or just doesn't eat McDonald's. How much easier it is to be like, I just don't eat McDonald's, than it is to be like, sometimes I eat McDonald's.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you almost
for
need
sure.
to just like, it's not on the table.
Right.
And whereas this, if you give them the doll to beat up, you're like, it's almost on the table.
Sure.
It's the whole like, yeah, you're right. I never thought about it like that, but you're right. Because you want to be like sympathetic and be like, they're hooked on heroin, give them methadone, but then you're like, now they're hooked on methadone. Like it's still, you're still addicted, you're still engaging in negative. So yeah, even if you're like, if you're trying to be sympathetic to pedophiles or whatever, and I'm not saying you should, I'm saying hypothetically, don't jump down. I don't want to be called a liberal pedophile right now. That's quick in the comments.
Someone's already typing this.
Dude, it's so funny sometimes.
They're quick on the draw.
Yeah, they're quick on the draw.
You already told them about your Jewish girlfriend.
Yeah, that's whoa. He's a Jew lover.
People are checking the early life section.
But you're right. It's still keeping that portal open in their brain for that behavior should be abstain. You should abstain from that behavior, just like you said, alcohol. I get that. I never thought about it that way.
Because there's probably both, right? There's probably, two types of people. There are people that are going to do it anyway, and there's people that aren't. And I think you probably help some people and make it worse for some people, but I think the make it worse category is bigger, in my opinion.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. You're right. Yeah. And look, some people are just broken. Unless they can figure out a way to get in the brain and rewire it, which they'll probably be able to do.
They're getting
soon.
there.
They'll get there. They'll be able to they're going to do it. My question to you guys, are you scared of AI? Because I'm not. And why is that? I'm kind of more scared of people. AI's been nothing but helpful for me.
Yeah.
I go amateur porn, and it pulls it up and shows me what I want to see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell
Is
you.
that AI?
That's AI. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the people that are worried about it, their worry is still low percentile chance. So a lot of people are like, the worry is that there's a 1% chance it gets screwed up and it might be catastrophic, right? I think I would even say the same thing about climate change, where it's stuff like that where you go, this might be a big problem, but it's still low percentage chance. But in their opinion, the low percentage chance is like catastrophic. But I'm not in my own life worrying about something where there's a 1% chance.
I'm
you know
more
what I
worried
mean?
about those robot dogs that they're releasing in New York. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I have
those
seen
are.
those.
I feel
They're
like
releasing robot dogs?
Yeah,
I
like
think-
it's like the Boston Dynamics. Those,
Boston,
those dogs that they created, the robots, and they're like they're basically like cameras, and they're just to patrol areas.
They're actually bringing them here? I thought that was just like a...
no, they've like been doing
China thing.
No. These are an American company. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
And,
Boston Dynamics is. And that's where they do the
And
robots.
no, they've had like a couple demonstrations in New York where they're not like out and about, but generally when they try all this stuff, it's eventually they do show up. They get cheap enough, and I don't know.
I see them taking jobs. That part I see.
But that's always been the case.
Yeah,
like
that's-
every industry for all of time has had that issue.
Yeah, but there's a scalability issue with this that's different scope.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do anything. I mean,
even
it's
when before cars came out, like there was, apparently like every city, there was just horse shit everywhere. And there was all these people whose jobs were in the horse like industry and shoveling shit. And they were all like, what's going to happen? This is all going to go, and you just like, you adapt.
Some guy that was the shit king that just owned all the shit.
Literally,
savers.
yeah.
So how come some of our cities just haven't adapted? I mean, you guys are on the road. I mean, we're not a first world country. We got a couple. We are
In
not.
some things,
Where's
for
the worst
sure.
places?
Dude, I'm telling you,
We are not a first world country.
I remember when I went to like, you go to what you think are like borderline third world countries, like you go to like Bangkok or something, like in Thailand, and you're expecting to be like, all right, let's see this shithole, and you're like, holy shit, this is like the most fucking modern city I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
you're
Like
like
the
this-
highways are like, there's not a crack on the highway. Like everything is their hospitals are great, and you're like, all right, we've been fed some lies here.
Yeah, then
about
you go
our
to Rochester.
exceptionalism.
and
I
you're
guess
like,
it's-
Bangkok is nicer than Rochester.
Oh, for sure.
Well, they built it more recently as part of it, right?
Yeah, but that's the point. It's like, what happened? How come they didn't adapt? Like,
Think how much
why?
money this country has to
Yeah.
update their infrastructure if there was a will to do so.
If there was a will to do it,
They have wars to fight.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, they gotta fund the fucking Ukraine war. But like, like if they wanted to in America, like, dude, like New York City, sometimes you're like, you hit these insane potholes. You're like, you guys don't have money for this? Like, where's the money going?
Yeah.
It's the highest tax rate. The most millionaires in the world exist in this city. There's no city in the world that has more
that
millionaires.
true?
Yeah, there's no city in the world
Interesting.
that has more millionaires than New York City.
That's bad for the dating market, huh?
Highest taxes.
Yeah.
Highest taxes.
That's the competition out there.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
But you're like, where's all this money going?
yeah, it's interesting. There's no social will like there is in other
No.
places. There's no like pride in
There isn't
community.
really,
Yeah.
and there's also even, it seems like there isn't a lot of pride in the like architecture component of it. That used to be the whole deal, like back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was the whole deal with let's say you're like an emperor or a king or whatever. It was all like, we're making this thing look. So you
mean,
basically did it like your house, so people would come over from other places and be like, oh,
Yeah.
you don't have this yet? You know what I mean?
Even in New York City, though, like it is peppered around the city. These like super old, like a 200-year-old church, which is like this beautiful building, and then it's just beside these like bland things that are just easy to put up. And
Yeah.
Gotta take a second here to tell the fellas about Factor. With the busy fall season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit that can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You save time, you eat well, you stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. I've been all over the Factor meals. My freezer is chock full with them, and that's one of the things that I've been doing. I would say at least minimum 4 times a week I've been on Factor meals.
yeah, they're great.
They're great. They're
It
great.
takes 2 minutes. It's amazing.
Takes 2 minutes. super healthy is a big thing. So they
Yeah.
have a lot of good healthy ones too. And you know, I've been on that.
You've been on that kick.
Especially trying to get that freaking summer bod cooking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He hasn't seen biceps like that. Definitely not in the mirror, folks.
Yeah.
Folks.
The last time I saw those biceps was on olive oil.
Factor meals are solid. Personal Ryan Long attestation. If you're too busy with the end of summer goals to cook, but you want to make sure you're eating well, with Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, cleaning up, which is not what you want to be spent. Not what a man wants to be spending his time doing.
Heck no.
While still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. So you can spend time doing other things like 6 hours in the gym.
Yeah. Getting those gains.
You can spend time doing stuff you need to be doing. Getting money, getting gains.
Yeah, you ain't going to get jacked by chopping onions.
No, it's a waste of your time, pal.
Nope.
Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you got to do is heat up and enjoy. Then you get back to crushing your goals. Gains, as we've said. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 plus weekly flavored, packed, dietitian approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. If you're too busy running around during the day to think about lunch, keep your energy up with the lunch to go, effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls, salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're on the go. No microwave required. I've even brought a couple of those to the studio.
Yeah.
Looking for calorie-conscious options ahead of the busy season? Try delicious, dietitian-approved, calorie-smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. And if you need an extra boost to support your wellness goals and feel your best for the rest of summer, try Protein Plus meals with 30 grams of protein or more per serving, that's actually the one I've been on the most. This August, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/boyscast50 and use the code boyscast50 to get 50% off. We're giving deals out here. That code is boyscast50 at factormeals.com/boyscast50 to get 50% off. Have you noticed that more people are religious now?
I think I think
for
I can
sure.
I haven't noticed it spoken to a lot of people, but I can kind of induct that that's what's coming because everyone's fucking lost.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, and you can feel it in politics the way we sort of have candidate fundamentalism in America now. Mm-hmm. It didn't used to be like this. Like you could make fun. Like people react now when if they love Trump, right? If they're in. No matter, he could murder someone in front of them, and they'll be like, he's my leader.
That's what he said.
And that's the fascist tendency that's in us that you see in a lot of countries in history. And you can smell it now. It's a little candidate fundamentalism. You bring up anything negative about RFK, and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're going, hey, this is true too.
You know what I was...
Our job is this is America. You're supposed to shit on everyone all the time. Shit on your friends.
Yeah.
Shit on your friends. Try it. It's fun. A little experiment. Shit on your friends. If they take it good, they're good friends. We're supposed to shit on all of them, and the ones who come out the cleanest, you're like, all right, he's the least fucking shitty.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. They work for you. They're not your leader. We're their leader. They're serving us.
Should be.
The ideals of this are still good. You know, it's like we're still the best. We still have the best system.
Oh, no question.
This is still, the Greeks and the Romans still created, and of course, John Locke and fucking all these other guys that contributed to it, right? It's still inalienable rights, fucking republics, democracy. It's still the best.
Yeah.
Come on. Get it together, dude.
Yeah,
We're
the people who
slipping,
are-
man. We're fucking slipping.
Yeah, there are too many people who are just blindly just make these guys their gods.
Do you think it's that, or do you think that they hate the other things so much? You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of it is driven more by hate towards the other than it is towards love. You know what I mean? Because you'll see it when they we love this guy, and then the minute he sort of gets off the program and he's not, giving it to the right people that they like, all of a sudden they're like, well, we didn't actually like him. It's like having a warrior or something, and then the warrior gets wounded and they're like, get him out of here.
Yeah,
And he's
that's
like,
that is kind of like Biden.
I thought you were giving me all the riches and all the girls, and they're like, yeah, that's before you lost your leg, pal.
Yeah. I just see a theocracy coming in America.
In which way?
I just think it's the only thing that's going to keep us together. Just like a real. Ayatollah, like a Christian Ayatollah, is coming. And it's just going to sweep the nation like a revival. We've had them in America before.
When was the last
Christian
one?
revivals? What was there? A couple of big ones. Maybe we can Google it.
So, but there was some
Oh, we had some big revivals. Yeah, where Christianity just made a massive
where it was
comeback.
like down to like 50-40% and then popped.
Yeah, and everyone started like preaching in the streets and
Right,
you know
right.
That's where those guys came from.
Yeah, they started
Yeah,
preaching
dude.
everywhere and like yeah. It goes. America kind of vacillates between like, and you could tell by some of the books that are written at the time. Like, I think Benjamin Franklin wrote a book about like, how to self-reliance or whatever that book's called, basically how to get rich, the Poor Man's Almanac, whatever it's called. And there was times in history you could see like everyone's about money, everyone's trying to like money, and then you could see what follows that is like people like get the money and then they're like, all right, I have the money and I still feel empty, so then they go like,
Right.
God, and then that becomes big. It's sort of like when you look at history,
Yeah.
you
So everything's cyclical.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also a seesaw between faith and reason. Or selfishness and spirituality that you can see throughout history. It's like the Dark Ages, come after the Enlightenment, the
Romance comes
Renaissance.
after logic.
It goes, it's faith, reason. We go, and then, and we get so indulgent in freedom. We start fucking horses and fucking Nero's marrying his eunuch and calling himself the wife. And he's going out at night and he's fucking, Nero used to go out with his boys with a mask on and kill homeless people for fun.
Stop!
Yeah, and he did it with a mask on so people wouldn't go, hey, the emperor of Rome is on the street killing homeless people. He did it for fun. I mean, we got to that point. So when
That's crazy.
Yeah, it could happen again where we get to that crazy point. And then I think at that point, like the only thing that can get us back to some sort of middle ground is if you go all the way the opposite. It's like some religious figure comes and just keeps everyone in.
And the threat of God, like
Threat
the
of
threat
God,
yeah, the
yeah.
threat of like God kind of sorting all this out. If you
drink,
don't,
you're sinning. You're having sex out of wedlock. You're sinning. It's the only thing that pulls everything back, snaps it all back. And then we start rebelling against that slowly
Yeah.
because that gets oppressive. Yeah. Humans can't find the fucking sweet spot.
No.
We cannot find the sweet spot.
And I think when they do find the sweet spot, there's just always money to be made in going more farther in the direction, right?
Yes.
So like once there's a sweet spot, those things all become industries as well, right?
yeah, the charlatans show up.
The charlatans.
The
show up.
charlatans just show up. They just do.
They always show
they
up.
they imitate. They just come in and they just show up and they do it with no passion, no authenticity, and they do it just for their own interest to make money and for themselves. And there's no passion, there's no art in it, and they just show up and they take over and they ruin everything. They ruin all art. They ruin all business. They ruin everything.
Because it's like it's
Counterfeiters.
Same with like a
Yeah, yeah,
relationship,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You want there to be juice left in it, right? And when someone wrings out all the juice, now it's like, ugh,
Yeah. It's like counterfeit. They flood the market with bullshit.
They flood the market.
Yeah, they flood the market with bullshit, and because there's a gold rush there, and it ruins the whole thing. It's going to happen to podcasting. It's happening to
oh, for sure.
I mean, there's just frauds everywhere.
I mean, I was saying
they're fucking frauds.
comedy. Like I noticed in the last maybe month on my Instagram like is just full of sponsored, just crowd work clips, like the whole, but like from just some person who's like at an open mic. And they're just like, I'm like, there's too much of this.
Yeah.
There's way too much. Like 10, I'll see 10 in a day sometimes.
Yeah.
Of just someone who paid Instagram money to show me their fucking crowd work clip
Yeah,
where they're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like bombing. I'm like, why?
Yeah, it's the charlatans have shown up.
What do you think's the one that bothers you the most that you'll see?
I hate it when someone's like a intentional, premeditated fraud.
Yeah.
There's nothing where, and like
Like they didn't have a series of accidents where they had
Right.
to cover up and became a fraud.
when it's
you're like you just-
premeditated, first degree kind of
First degree
fraud is in the arts. It really fucking and nobody cares anymore, which is amazing. Like nobody cares about integrity or like intent anymore. It's just all about the results. It's like, did you get a lot of views? Well, then who cares?
The
It's like-
influencer space, you see a lot of that too.
it's like, everyone's making their life into a reality TV show, and it's very shameless, and it's sort of, and you're going like, this is not good for the soul. It's not good for anybody. What are we doing?
It is a what are we doing?
Yeah.
Because you actually boil it down. You go, there's nothing here.
It's
You know
like
what I mean?
nothing. It's
like some of you, I just watched a guy sort of like dicking around his house.
Oh, for sure. It's like
Yeah.
a day in my life, and you're like, you just made lunch.
Yeah.
Like you just did a video of you made a salad for
Yeah.
lunch, and this is like content.
It's like-
it is to some people.
It's really car crash entertainment because
Yeah.
like everyone will stop and look at a car crash, but it's a car crash. But it appeals to that lower part of our brain that's like
For sure.
and like everyone's doing it now, like just making a spectacle. Everyone's making a fucking spectacle of themselves.
Yeah,
With no fucking integrity. It's like a fucking spectacle. It's like the only valuable thing is how many eyeballs are on me. It's like, what has happened?
And New York is a specifically bad city for that shit.
Yeah, and you know what? New York used to be more of a but New York, LA's the worst.
LA's the worst, but
Yeah.
like just something like the subway and stuff. People are always like, dude, just I don't know. They're always trying to get some content, doing like the prank.
Oh, I don't
shit.
take the subway anymore. Oh,
No.
pranks are wild. I can't wait for someone to get killed.
Oh,
one of those guys go.
The
like,
one kid got
yeah,
shot in the food court in the stomach.
staring at people in the hood. I just fucking root every time. I can't wait till I pick up a Gazette. Yeah, I said it that way. And see YouTube prankster gets murdered by Bloods in Compton, Los Angeles. I can't wait for that fucking headline.
Yeah.
Because watching those pranks is just like, it is truly the lowest form of comedy.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. It's like it's not even comedy anymore. It's like they're daredevils.
It's just,
It is Daredevil.
It's daredevil.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Nothing wrong with a good prank.
I like a good prank too. Don't get me wrong. It's just it went from like
You're
this
right.
funny
It's like Daredevil, yeah.
Or the one actually
Stunts,
my
yeah.
least favorite prank thing is when you're holding like a retail worker hostage and you're like they can't do anything. They like need this job. They like work at Target.
Yeah.
And then you go and you just like humiliate them and make their life a living hell and they're like there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Because they're at work, they like work for they need this job and they're like have to go along with it and it's just
That's the part where
You're supposed to be sort of you're the guy that's the like looks stupid in those scenarios.
exactly
Yeah.
not to just go like dress down a cashier.
Right. And
just
look,
like-
there's exceptions. You look at Borat, and a lot of that stuff is pranks, and you're like, or Bruno, and you're like, that was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah, there's an
nothing's
art to it.
categorical.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like when people watch comedy and don't like it, and they go, "I don't like it. Here's why," and you go, "That's not why," but I understand that you didn't like it.
right.
Well, speaking of artists, this is sort of the main story today that we didn't really talk about yet. But
What's going on?
Lizzo has been accused.
Yes, she's fucking the devil. You fat bitch. Finally, I can call you a fat bitch because you yourself hate fat bitches.
Yeah.
You treat them like shit.
Isn't that crazy?
You
Body
fucking hypocrite.
body shaming from
Yeah,
Lizzo?
Jesus
Unreal.
Christ, I knew it. She plays the flute. Doesn't Mephistopheles play the flute? She's the devil, dude, right? Mephistopheles plays the fucking flute. She's the devil incarnate. I just like calling her a fat bitch finally.
Yeah, totally. Like
Yeah.
nobody could come at you anymore.
Yeah.
for
She
it.
hates women.
Yeah, she's like,
She
you
hates
can't call me
women.
that. It's like, you call other people that. So who are you? You can't say I'm fat phobic anymore because you're fat phobic.
You're sexually
fatty.
assaulting people.
Jesus.
Oh man, it's
Oh, it's great because nobody's ever going to go after Kid Rock for that.
No.
because they know
No.
that. So that she opened her. My point is, she opened herself up for these.
It's a law of media
accusations,
where
yeah.
they say, like, what go up must come down. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, gravity's strong on that one.
It definitely will come down.
But it's like, it's
and you leave
almost.
quite the crater.
Dude, I think people include, I've always, there's a, tipping point in all those books sort of talk about this, but it's like, if you find yourself with everyone in the media talking about how great you are, like, what's the prince's wife, Meghan Merkel.
Meghan Merkel.
Anyone that the media is all in on, you can't say bad, they're amazing. It's almost a countdown to when they turn on them. Like, it seems to always happen.
Yeah.
Because you can't be holy like that.
But the crazy thing is like I don't know. I guess obviously people have defects and whatever. You're like, because if she's being accused of what she's being accused, is it that hard for her not to have done those things? Like it's so crazy. Like the body shaming from her.
Oh, I think what she's actually being accused of is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But like, even if it happened, you're like, that's so crazy that Lizzo of all people is calling some chick fat.
Well, I support it. Like from my perspective, I support it. I think she's being fun, and I would laugh with
I
her.
agree. That's what I
The
think,
point
too.
is,
Yeah.
she goes out there and she's like, "Don't be mad."
You don't get it both ways.
moralizing.
You don't get to have it both
Don't
ways.
can everyone just stop acting like they're a saint? Like, Just be normal again.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a cunt.
Yeah.
You're a type A star. You know, Mariah Carey is supposed to piss herself in a diaper and have adults attend to her and change her like the Pope because she's Mariah Carey, right? If a normal person did that, you go into a mental institution. But if Mariah Carey does that, you're going, she's fucking Mariah Carey. She's
Well, it's
paying.
like, what else is she gonna do?
What else is she gonna do? Like, has anyone ever met like a full type A like person who is sweet?
Yeah.
Like, they're all cunts.
Especially, I mean, I've talked about this, but like female singers are the most, because it's the most everyone's afraid of you.
Yes.
Like there's people on that Lizzo, like if you're a guy that's that, right? Everyone's, if Lizzo is walking around that stage yelling at people, they're petrified.
Yeah.
Like, because they're on top of the fact that like they could be in you know, if you're some stagehand dude that's like accidentally says the wrong comment to Lizzo, now you're in an article.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, your life's over.
yeah, it's
you're-
like these people, she's like, it's like the Pope, you know?
Yeah, and I understand it a little bit, right? Because all the pressure's on them. So it's like Lizzo has the high standard. She's a star. She's got to put on a good show. If someone fucks up, she should be able to smack him or call him fat.
I mean, yeah, and it does
Yeah.
for sure. It does
Yeah.
reflect on her like 100%. Like nothing bad that happens to a backup dancer.
If Lizzo wasn't, if you weren't not allowed to say that she wasn't the most beautiful person in the world, and it was article after article after article, and it was just a normal person, and this happened, it was like, yes, what they're overreacting. What Lizzo did is probably absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like your buddy. It's like the guy who's just like, if you're 100%, your whole deal is everyone's racist and this and that, and then you kind of slip up and say an N-word during a song, it's like, well, you're not going to get that kind of
Right.
treatment. I'm not. It's a different thing because you're the saint that's holier than
right.
thou.
Just stop making yourself into the saint, which is
And
what
they made her in it, but she accepted it.
Oh, she accepted it.
the sainthood.
and she wasn't mad at it one bit. I'm putting on my big girl show. I'm gonna make my speeches about I'm good. You know, we gotta support disenfranchised people. We gotta be nice.
heard Aries
Hierarchies are bad unless I'm at the top of it and I can spit on your fat fucking backup dance Google Map face unimportant bitch existence. Yeah, but like, as a comic, I know people, right? Like, I bet you have a high standard. Have you always been nice to him?
I'm nice to people.
Yeah, for the most part.
No, to be honest, I do know what you mean. So
You know what I mean? Like, if he makes a mistake, you're like, dude.
Well, a little bit, but
I
also,
moved to America for one purpose.
I keep my circle small,
and
for
it's
that
not
reason.
to make mistakes.
Well, what are you supposed to do?
I know. I'm saying I'm
If you wanna-
supporting it. Yeah.
If you're going to be like a director, it's like people always talk shit like, oh, these guys were assholes. It's like, it's really hard to make great things.
Yeah. And the people who are usually who do it are, very perfectionist,
Your
anal, and
fat backup dancer's missing the marks because she's got 9 Big Macs in her. It's a problem.
It's like, hey, nobody is here because of you
Being fat.
They're here because of my fat ass.
for sure.
Right?
I mean, that's the main takeaway.
Yeah. So look,
also-
hit your mark, Fat Albert. It's your fucking mark. You didn't have to write the song. You don't have to sing it. You got to hit your fucking mark, you circle bitch.
Do you think Lizzo is trashing her like that, though?
Oh, yeah.
You think Lizzo's like, oh, like a fatty boom boom coming down.
She's going, listen, here she comes, Fat Albert. Hey, you fat fucking bitch.
She's going hard on the other one.
Yeah, just stay away from a rooftop so you don't cause a solar eclipse. You fatty boom batty. She goes, yeah, of course.
yeah.
What's the point?
Throwing peanuts at her.
Yeah,
She doesn't
bossing
do it
people
right.
around, touch that stripper. I'm Lizzo. She's an empress.
Yeah, the stripper one was, she was like, we're having fun, get out there. Oh, yeah, that'd be fun if you did that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
these girls are, the thing is, and this is one thing that I was thinking, though, the one I think mistake the backup dancers are making is because obviously now you can always, try to do a big story like this and get some payouts, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, they're just
right?
trying to get some money.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But that payout better be real big, because if you're like Lizzo's fat backup dancer, there's not a crazy amount of jobs in the industry
There's
for fat
none.
backup
There's
dancers.
one.
Like, you hit the jackpot being one of Lizzo's fat backup dancers.
There's literally zero. That's the
Yeah,
only job.
You just sucked up the only pool you could swim
Yeah,
in.
you're at like that in a circus, basically. I don't know.
That's what
Like,
I'm
does
saying.
Cirque have like the Cirque du Soleil have like an auxiliary stage?
You really just cut off your nose to spite your face.
She better get you got to get the real, like, never work again payout, because your career is done. If you're making a career as a fat backup dancer.
Oh, those chicks are gonna be in for a rude awakening next time they travel and realize they have to pay for 2 seats themselves.
First class. You know what? If I find out what those first class seats were costing Lizzo's team.
And look, none of this may be true. They could just all be making these allegations for money. Who knows?
Sure.
But you kind of deserve it when you act holy. You got to know that it's coming.
Oh, for sure.
Like
and
I
she
said-
had a meteoric rise. Like she went from
Yeah.
literally like nobody to hugest chick in the world.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna. Yeah, literally.
Poor choice of words.
But nobody. Like I said, nobody's ever gonna accuse Kid Rock of that because like he didn't claim to be the defender of fat people.
Yeah, that's why rappers never get in trouble for anything.
No, because they're.
It's like you literally have to murder somebody and then even still.
Some of those guys, though, that have done apologies, like, have murdered people, and it's just, there's a few, I mean, legitimately, like, I mean, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, there was a while where he was doing, like, an apology every couple months, because he's, like, pretty wild on Twitter, and he's, like, hilarious, and then, but everyone was like, you know, you have to apologize, you made that joke about this guy. I was like, yeah, he probably also killed people. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just so funny that, like, a lot of these gangsters have to apologize for that, but not the other thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I also love the
Like homophobia, like a lot of these guys apologize for like saying the wrong comment about gays, but it's like they're
Yeah.
actual human traffickers.
Yeah, you were killing other black people. Okay, so we're such good people, but we don't care about that. But were you just like, did you say anything homophobic about people who are rich and visible? Because, oh, you killed someone when you were. We don't care. We don't really. That happened in a black neighborhood when everyone was poor. We don't really care about
was
that.
circumstance.
Would you like to be in a Corona commercial? I know you were involved in a murder trial, but would you like to now sell Corona?
Yeah.
Because Shane Gillis is the devil because he did an Asian voice.
Yeah.
But Snoop Dogg can sell Corona
And
after
women.
a murder trial and women. Yeah, it's fucking porno tapes. I mean, it really is funny. The hypocrisy is really
That part's my
hilarious.
favorite
Yeah, it's
because
so funny.
It's very like, oh, obviously he grew up that way, so he's going to be a murderer. And you're like, oh, and also he doesn't like gay people. It's like, what the fuck did you just say?
whoa.
You don't get a pass
Yeah.
on that. You get a pass. We give you a pass on the murder.
Eminem has kind of managed to get a pass though on the gay stuff.
Well, he hugged.
He
no.
hugged Elton John.
He hugged Elton
I mean,
John.
his lyrics are all like
No,
murdering
every
gay
once in a
people.
while it comes up.
No, it
again.
does come up, but I'm saying for the most part, like I don't. Although he doesn't really have endorsements or anything, right? I don't think he does.
Well, I think he
has
gets the
crazy-
talent pass. He's one of those.
He's
one of those rare things where then he just puts out a song like "Rap God," and you're like, all right,
Yeah,
whatever. You fucked my sister, I forgive you.
Yeah.
It's just one of those like he's too good.
Yeah.
He's so good at it.
Yeah, so
yeah.
good.
They sort of rewrote a lot of the histories, and then sort of, I think in the last couple of years, a lot of those histories are unraveled where they're kind of like, can you believe what this guy said? And they're like, no, we already figured all that out. I'm good now.
Yeah.
Because didn't you see, like saying with Elton John, they were just like, we weren't there for that.
Yeah.
Now, we got to tell you about Manscaped. This is a man's product.
The boys.
You listen to the boys cast, you want the Manscaped. We're here with a sponsor for your bouncing bundle of joy. And ours are ours are real bouncy.
Real bouncy.
Real bouncy.
Bouncy.
And we're not talking about a baby. We're talking about your baby makers. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped. But just like babies, your delicate little guys got sensitive skin and deserve products that are not only skin safe, but made with safe ingredients. That's where Manscaped's Platinum Package comes in. And we're not talking a silver package. We're not talking a bronze package.
No, we're talking a platinum
We're not even talking gold package.
for the Wavos.
It's a platinum package for the boys. From razors to shower care, this package goes above and beyond the gold standard for your body hair. So treat your beautiful boys to the world's finest toys at manscaped.com and use the code BOYSCAST for 20% off plus free shipping. The Manscaped Platinum Package, let me tell you a little bit what's going on here for the fellas. This is a one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. They designed this package to allow you to fully align your entire hygiene routine with elite high-tier products. Inside this platinum package, you're going to find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, ultra premium. By the way, there's an epidemic of guys that don't deal with nose hairs.
Yeah.
Some guys... I don't get how like the chick that they're with isn't like, all right, cool.
Yeah, let's go here. I get in there.
Maybe, yeah, but me and you
I
aren't
got
that crazy here. But some guys, you're like, what are you doing,
Oh
pal?
yeah, for sure. And
Take
ear
care of
hair.
Especially as you get older. You see
Oh, yeah,
guys
yeah,
like
yeah.
50, they got some ear hair going.
It's that's a next level not giving a shit.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it that often either.
I know. It's not you're like, oh my God, every day.
No, I know. So anyways, you want to get on that. But there's not only that. They have ultra premium deodorant, crop preserver, anti-chafing ball deodorant, crop Reviver ball spray toner, anti-chafing boxers, the Shed travel bag to hold all your goods while traveling. Also, the Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer and weed whacker nose and ear trimmer feature proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof, so you can shave with less meals and not be nicking yourself in the process. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated, smelling fresh, but don't forget to apply the aluminum-free Ultra Premium Deodorant and Cologne Quality Scent on the go. The Platinum Package 4.0 covers all the bases, from head to toe and hair to ball fro.
Okay.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BOYSCAST at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code BOYSCAST. Use the Platinum Package because the gold standard is no longer good enough. You know what? One that was crazy. I mean, okay, so this is, I bet you probably know a bit more than me about this stuff because like the Salem witch trial happened in America, right?
Yeah.
But I was, we've talked about this a lot. There's all these like crazy witch forums that we go through, and witch is like a girl thing, like hands down, right? And it's kind of been this thing where if you look at how they'll say for feminism, like women were sort of mistreated. Look, when they just used to kill all the witches. It's like I started like researching. It was like 30% of the witches they killed were men.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. They were killing
Buddy.
They were killing male witches.
Whoa.
Buddy, nobody knows this.
Yeah.
I
Are you sure they weren't just killing them for being gay and they just said it was for witchcraft?
When you look, even the Salem witch trials, they killed a few dudes. Back then, they killed like, it was very like it was like anyone that was like a fortune teller, like a medium, mostly political opponents.
Yeah.
Anyone that like wasn't like the right type of religion at the time. Anyone who the right woman said, "Oh, this guy's a little bit of a witch."
Whoa.
30% of them or so were men.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
I didn't even know there were male
lot-
witches.
Yeah.
There was one guy. Here's my
Were
favorite
they considered witches though, or were they killed for other reasons?
We sort of think now, we think like old, woman with a fucking pointy nose or like a young woman with her stupid crystals.
But there was dude witches.
It's just, they called it witches. It's like anyone that was, kind of not getting with the Christian program.
Yeah, not with the right religion was like you were just, a heretic.
Wow.
But anyone who was doing like pagan shit, they were calling witches and killing them,
Right.
So
I didn't know that.
It's like if that was, I was... My favorite one that I saw was there's a couple guys, but there's one guy who's like kind of famous, and he got, his thing was, they said that he was using witchcraft to have sex with the women because he was fucking so many girls. So it was like basically husbands being like, there's no way he would have stole her.
That's amazing.
Right.
So, and then they would torture the witches, and then they would say, torture them until they basically like the Taliban.
Yeah.
They would like torture them until they like fake gave up someone that wasn't even involved just to get stopped the torture. So there's basically like a chain reaction. Once they got one witch, then they just get 100 more, and all these guys were getting dinged up too.
I love that they got together and they're like, we gotta put a stop to this dude fucking all our chicks.
Yeah. I love like Ryan's trying to like revise this history though. He goes,
They're revising it.
Or I'm saying, but because chicks are like, what they did to us in the Salem witch trials, and Ryan's like, Ahem did to us in the Salem witch
also
trials.
us, ladies. Also us. It's like when guys go, we get raped too. It's like, do we really? Is that really a problem?
By dudes in jail.
Yeah, by dudes in jail. But it's like, hey, don't murder someone and there's no chance of you getting
Hey,
raped.
don't be a witch,
Yeah.
and then they won't send you to jail.
You're not getting raped. But for you to get raped, it's a byproduct of you deserving to get raped. Yeah,
If you didn't want to get raped in jail, then don't be in my cell.
then don't fucking go to jail with dudes who haven't seen a vagina in a long time and they're mean guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to hang out with those guys.
That's some street Brooklyn justice.
Yeah.
You should have thought of that before you did the crime, pal.
Dude, I think the greatest joke about that illustrates the point about what women have to go through is when Chappelle said he was trying to empathize with what women have to go through, and he said like, I remember, I'm butchering it, but the whole point is like he remembers being on the train with a bag full of cash. He tells a story and how scared he was because he had something everyone wanted.
Yeah.
And then he's like, they like hit him like, oh, that's how they feel all the time.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, some
kind of true. Yeah.
Okay, some girls ain't a bag of cash, pal. Some of these girls out there ain't looking like a
Beauty's
bag
the
of
eye
cash.
of beholder.
Some of
You'd
them
be
are
surprised.
Fucking bag of leaves.
There's different cultural standards for people. I mean, one man's Helen of Troy is a black guy. She ain't thick enough.
That's true.
I'll just say it. Is a black guy? She ain't thick enough.
I mean, that's how we got Lizzo.
Yeah. Adele. Are black dudes still into Adele?
She's skinny now.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
And women are really mad at her. She turned her back on a lot of the fat ladies.
Yeah. I bet you she's really happy that Lizzo is getting this negative attention because she got so much negative attention for getting skinny.
Yeah.
And like Lizzo was probably one of those ones holding her head high being like, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to stay a fat, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then now it's like, you're a bitch. You're just another girl who's going to get diabetes.
Gonna get gout.
There's no glory in being fat. You were the last one.
If you actually think about it, because it goes through different phases of how people look at different looks, and it's like fat guys probably had it best when everyone thought they were jolly. That was like probably the sweet spot. It's kind of like what you were saying before. They were like, it was sort of like, no, we're not jolly, we're brave. They should have stuck with jolly. Now people are like, they're bitches.
Great point.
Have you ever seen that photo?
That's
Jolly
really
was Jolly was the heyday.
Yeah.
And humans ruin everything.
Best you're
It's
gonna
like
do.
you had it. You were jolly, and then you wanted too much.
Have you ever seen that photo of this guy who he was like the fattest man in the world at the carnival in like 1890 in America? He like looks just like a normal guy.
I know.
It's amazing. And he was like literally like billed at this carnival as like the fattest man in America.
Yeah.
And he just like looked like a normal
You
dude.
just look like me or you.
Pretty much.
Because, dude, when I was in the hospital, they were like, "You're obese." I'm obese.
Yeah.
I am like obese. Like probably back then.
Putting on 30. Yeah, just being
Yeah.
25 pounds overweight. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I'm like 215 to 220. I should be like 185. I'm 6 foot.
And by the way, I am sympathetic of the fact that they are trying to get you with the foods. Like, it really is like, it's obviously there's a million other things too, but it's like, the foods are trying to get you fat, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
and all the lobby arms of those industries, they keep it, they keep it unregulated. And
I'm telling you, that's why they want RFK gone, man. So you start talking about getting rid of war and fixing like the fat problem.
Well, that's
they
the part
want you gone.
Well, that's the part of him I like.
Yeah.
That's the part of him I like. And then there's other stuff where you're going like, that's a little kooky.
Yeah, he's got some kooky stuff.
yeah.
That's fine.
There was I kind of always, Sam Harris I heard him talking about this, and I actually feel like I don't like Sam Harris that much. I feel like he has female tendencies, but like
Is that negative?
yeah, I just kind of like, it's not negative. It's just for me, it's like, I don't like to get my like advice on how to live your life from a chick.
Bitch ass.
From a chick.
Can you bleep that last part? Everyone knows there's no intent, but just bleep it.
Yeah, I believe that. No, from a chick, because it's like, it might be good advice for a chick, but I just feel like he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Female tendencies is the way to
his
describe
whole
it.
thing that he did,
That wasn't even really my point, but my point was he was kind of making the point, which is valid. He was like, there are some people that was just like, there's no conspiracy they ever. So it's like immediately as soon as you hear something, you're just looking for the anomaly of, you're always just looking for where they're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one's going to be always wrong. So, but I kind of thought, with like the conspiracy stuff, so there's something that with RFK you can say it's like he never met a conspiracy he didn't like. You know what I mean? He likes all of them. Whereas I think probably where Sam Harris was wrong, probably the right answer is the opposite of that, where it's like, it's not that I like always think CNN's wrong or always thinks Fox News. They're irrelevant to me. It's like almost like I don't even listen to them at all.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's like I'm not like always just trying to debate them. You're just like, it's just, that's just your guy friend that you don't really listen to his opinions anymore.
I mean, unfortunately, they are kind of like upstream from a lot of stuff, though, because the fact is, like, a lot of people do get their opinions and news from those two sources. So it's like that is where a lot of people are kind of.
I agree with that.
Starting point. So it's hard to say that, like, yeah, you can't like totally discount them.
I just don't think you can have a market-driven media.
No,
I just don't
That's-
see how that'll
Well,
ever
it's
work.
worse to have a publicly funded one.
Well, that's the oxymoron. That's the
What's the other option?
I know, but that's the thing.
like, have you that
Because-
was like the RFK thing that I thought the best thing, if nothing else comes from him, is the fact that he's just like, the budgets of all these major news organizations come from these like pharmaceutical companies, and like there's only 2 countries in the world that can advertise pharmaceuticals on TV. It's like America and some, I think, New Zealand.
So maybe some regulations would help.
They
But
should have to
it's a
advertise
paradox.
Big Macs like they advertise smoking. It should, like, if they're gonna put regulations on smoking, like put regulations on like your Big Mac sales.
Right, but then you go, hey, that's people should be big enough to do what they want. And then you're going like, then the government's telling us what to do, and we become a nanny state. Don't eat these.
That's Canada.
don't do that.
I mean, have you seen
yeah, but
the
then
news?
get rid of the. Yeah, but you're saying that to me, but not you. But I'm like, okay, if that was the case and this actually was a free market, but when you have these groups like lobbying like crazy to like, use regulatory capture to get the other bad guy, to get their like competitors out, and when it's so corrupt already, it's sometimes very hard to just be like, well, my ideals are I kind of don't want this. You're just like, no, the whole thing is like they're all intertwined and corrupt. Is like best case scenarios. You try to maybe like push some legislation to kind of get it a little healthier, I guess.
Did you see the new cigarettes in Canada? Have you seen those?
What do they have?
They just announced them, I think, like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Just shaped like a dick.
It worked though.
Dude, they literally
that whole like putting the lung on the cigarette pack. That shit works.
They now have individually printed on every single cigarette.
Welcome
now.
to death.
It literally says like you're gonna die, and like this is like your baby's gonna die, and this causes cancer. But it's like printed on each individual cigarette now. Yeah, it's pretty. Crazy. I mean, it works. It for sure works,
man.
Like they've made.
When I would buy a pack in Canada, it gets in your subconscious. You're going like, yeah, this is.
You're telling me you couldn't put that on like a Big Mac?
Yeah.
You should. Yeah. There should be a scale when you walk into the Big Mac.
Yeah. Right
when you
order.
stand, you're standing on a scale, and the scale hits a point, and then the woman goes, "I'm sorry, I can't serve you.
Yeah.
This burger's illegal for you.
Yeah.
For
Like
you, it's illegal."
you ever go through customs? Like
You have to be 18 to drink. Shouldn't you have to be a certain weight to eat a Big Mac? I think it's the same shit.
when you go into Pearson Airport, I don't know if they have this other places, but like you can do your customs on a kiosk thing now. Like you don't actually have to see anybody, and it takes your photo, and it'll start like to find your face. It'll like so like you can literally step on a scale. It finds what height you are, and it's just like salads. Like it just knows your height to weight, and it just goes like, sorry.
Hey, we need something like that.
This is what's available for you today.
We need some sort of regulatory, some sort of internal affairs for media, but some sort of standard where they get called out and they're held accountable for when they're not
How
telling
would that
the truth.
work?
Something.
I mean,
there's an FCC that regulates.
Right, yeah,
There's
for
got to
sure.
be.
Isn't it almost better that like people just started being like treating them like a TV show now, where you're kind of
Well,
like,
because that's what they are, but
You have
that's the sad
individual
part
people-
because then nobody knows what's true anymore.
you have individual people you trust, but it's based on how many times they're wrong. Like I have guys that I'm like, I liked that guy, and then he was wrong like
Too many
4 or 5
times.
big times, and you're okay. I don't listen to him anymore. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like instead of there's no institutions you trust. You're like, there's a guy that I feel like he's been on the money a lot.
Community notes on Twitter or whatever is like kind of
Community
a good-
notes is nice.
Yeah, good version of that because it's still a consensus, so it can't really be gamed. I mean, I'm sure there are ways to game it, but
There's always the thing. It's just about mitigation as much as you can.
like even like
in everything.
like community notes on Twitter, which is like one of the funniest things, is people will post ads. Like people will advertise, and their ads will get notes saying like this is a scam.
yeah.
Like they're paying to advertise, and then there's a note underneath that says
What
this
was
is,
that one?
There was like for some game or something, and it just like literally was like a note that said this game's a scam. This whole thing's a scam. Don't buy this.
We had a guy,
Dude, I'm well in my 40s. I don't listen to anyone who idealizes or says anything. This is my theory. Right away I go like, you have no experience. You're full of shit. This feels like a freshman year in college conversation.
Yeah.
When someone goes like, anytime it's like, we got to end all wars. I'm like, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, this is how it
that's
should
not
be.
realistic. I mean, it's like you don't understand how the world works and how sometimes war makes for strange bedfellows. Like you don't. You're a sideline quarterback going, yelling at people who also don't have any experience in the field and don't know how the world works. It's not that simple.
No, you're arguing like in a perfect scenario, if you remove all the other variables, this is the two arguments.
There's nobody more dangerous on this planet than people utopian.
Oh, for sure.
You know what it is?
Anyone who's an idealist or utopianist, they're evil.
I mean, you wind up in like literally like Pol Pot. Like that's
Yes.
where that's what a utopian is. You wind
People
up just
who
like
believe-
murdering everybody who wears glasses.
That's right. That's where it ends. It starts with we're gonna fix everything
Yeah.
and here's the solution, and then it ends with fucking murdering people with glasses and also Jews.
And
It's
Jews.
always also Jews.
It's always also Jews.
Yeah.
Pol Pot didn't get to the Jews. Not a lot of Jews in Cambodia.
Couldn't find them. I bet you tried. I bet he was like, "Are they here? All right, I don't have to murder them, but if I see it, bring one to me
On site.
Yeah, I'd like to kill that one. That's a special one. That's a special kill.
That's the best story ever. Okay, speaking of guys with glasses, we have this one last thing, and then so first, it's kind of there's a 2 or 3 fold. The first one is Pee Wee Herman dying, and then
Paul Reubens, yeah.
which was interesting because it's sort of like Pee Wee Herman. What he got busted for happened now, he'd almost be like a hero because it was like he sort of. Even if you look back at it, it kind of sounds like he got caught like jerking off in a theater. Like you think he's at like, you know.
Yeah, I always thought he was at like a
Top
proper,
Gun,
like at an AMC.
spanking it. It's like this guy's at like a theater where gay guys go to jack each other off.
He was in a pizza shop eating pizza.
Yeah,
essentially.
like yeah. In hindsight, you go like, yeah, that's what they do there.
Yeah.
That's like
Right.
who's busting him for
Yeah.
that? That's more my thing. Is you go, who was like, don't do that when that's what everybody's doing.
Piece of shit reporters.
He was so famous, yeah. Like
But I
he had
thought
the
he got
TMZ of the era.
Oh, because like he got arrested for it though.
well, you can't.
Indecent
I think you
exposure.
can't pull your dick out in a theater.
But yeah, I know that. But
It's like they used to
didn't
raid
they
the-
show up and then they're like everybody had their dick out.
Yeah, it was an unwritten
and they all got
rule.
arrested, probably.
Yeah, it was an unwritten
I don't know.
rule.
Right.
Like that's what people did there, but technically it was illegal.
Right.
Yeah. The problem was like he was Pee Wee Herman, and like they're like, oh God, he's a human being, and so like they had some shitty reporter was like, let's make this into a thing. Back in the day, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
There was a time like all the media knew Jack Kennedy was having hooker pool parties at the White House. No exaggeration.
What?
It's in the book Dark Side of Camelot by Seymour Hersh. He would have hooker
No,
pool
but the
parties.
media just like totally knew.
They knew, and they said it's not relevant. We're talking about him as president. That's personal
Imagine
shit.
sitting on that
Yeah.
story and your boss is like, no, I think we're going to do the fiscal budget cut one.
Yeah. But it's like back then, people had like some couth about it. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, now you hear these parts. This guy's got caught. You're like, it's his personal life, man. They're going after him about his relationship. You're like, who gives a fuck? You know?
Yeah. They
Well, it can
require
be
like
relevant.
purity, like top to bottom, essentially, which is crazy.
I guess it can be relevant.
I mean,
if
it just
it's
depends on
germane
the-
to the job, but if it's,
Yeah, no, I was saying it's
Yeah.
relevant to their whether they're liars or not. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
if you're the guy that's like I'm Mr. Christian family man and you're out there,
Or if you
smashing
can be
a ton, then it's-
compromised, like,
or you're just
black-
a
I guess
dude
there's
and
that.
like, are we going to be cool about this?
Well, no, obviously that. Yeah.
I get a lot of pussy. Jackie only has one.
Dude, if I
and
wa-
I need more.
If I walked in on Bill Clinton, I would have just been like, "Oh, I dropped something on the floor." Walk out of the room.
It's a stressful job, dude. I mean, the president can't get a fucking blowy in the Oval Office from
Yeah.
some fucking 21-year-old fucking intern. It's all legal.
How
It's all
much is that?
Consensual.
I mean, that's every job that, like, being a rock star, anything. It was like, man, you probably used to the good old days of like how much sniz you could smash with like and not get in trouble or over.
Yeah.
But like, president is the main one where you're just like, man, you're the most powerful guy in the world. But if you so much as like look at another girl, they're on your fucking ass,
Yes. Are they like that in France and other countries? Though? Like, I think France.
No,
is
Macron
Yeah.
is married to his
old teacher.
teacher,
Yeah.
and he was like a kid or something
Yeah.
when they got together.
And they're like, the hot ones was the
Yeah.
hot ones. Ooh.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
yeah, they're just French,
And we're just like, we got that Protestant, like, it's wrong. It's wrong. Everything must be, it's got to make sense. God has to approve. It's part of our culture, dude.
Yeah.
It's that judgmental kind of like, that's wrong. You're going to burn.
You're
It's
gonna
like-
burn.
I feel like
Burn.
I never had that in me.
Well, you're not.
Yeah, but maybe that's why. Yeah, it's like I never that kind of just like maybe I don't have that like.
Canadians are fucking
thing in
looser.
me.
You grew up a little looser. I have Canadian friends. It's not. You guys have a different.
Do you have like the guilt about like how they have the guilt? Like do you have like
Yeah, it's there. Yeah. Where you just proverbially just kind of.
self-flagellate.
It's just fucking
interesting?
That's what I feel like when I see.
Like, have you ever had a time in your life where like I'm assuming were your parents religious?
They weren't, but we went to church and all that.
Did
They
you-
were kind of religious.
Did
My
you
mother-
have like times where you're like I'm gonna be in trouble with the big guy upstairs?
Yeah, You're, it's fucking burned into your brain when you're a kid that this is wrong. And like anytime anything sexual would come on a screen or whatever from my parents, like my mom would get all weird because her generation.
I get
was
weird
like-
on that.
Yeah, I don't think my mother ever looked at her own vagina. There was a whole I don't think women were allowed to look at it for like it was covered in muff and it was like
Yeah.
only a baby hole, only a baby hole. This is only a baby hole. It's not. It was not great to be a woman till recently.
Yeah.
They didn't even know how to like. Nobody even like taught them how to orgasm, and they can have multiple. They're not stuck to just like one. They can like really fucking Kama Sutra that shit.
And they're
we got to
their
keep that
witch
shit back
husbands.
on locks, though.
Huh?
We don't have to be publicizing that
Yeah, for them how to come?
multiple times. It's just
Multiple
It's just
times.
making it difficult for the
What are you?
guys.
This guy's
Oh, right,
he
right.
witchcraft over here. Lock him up.
Right. Like I don't know how to do it, but I would have liked to be
Like
trained.
every guy wants a girl to be like, so I found out that I can just come nonstop, but it's going to take a lot of work from you. I go, great.
You know what
Doesn't
I
it
said?
suck that some guys know how to do it?
Yeah.
Like there's guys out there who fuck so much better than we do.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I said
fine.
that making a girl comes like how America spreads democracy. You come back, you go, might be a 10-year project. We're gonna need some more money. I'm
That's
gonna need more
fucking
men.
great. That is fucking
I'm
great.
talking about that bit on stage.
That is really funny, yeah. We're in there. I don't know. It's complicated. Trying to give them freedom. You know, we're trying to elect somebody there. There's a will of the people. We thought this was going to be quick, and
I've been making targeted strikes. We have had some success
Yeah.
in the outer region.
we've been able to really hold the line against Al Qaeda now. But you know, they have retreated. They have retreated into Pakistan, parts of Pakistan, and they're regrouping on the border. We're really upset with the Pakistani government for harboring them. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, we tried to take a troop around back. They did not like that.
Point being is we're going to be here for a while, and we may not achieve our objective, but it is going to cost a lot of money and time.
and the Island Boys are gay now, or not. I don't know. I can't figure it
They
out.
turned gay?
So the
They
Island
made
Boys have
out.
been making out on camera.
Disgusting.
It's if you want to talk like peak, you know, because the kind of what you're saying with all the influencers and everything. Like, I think you have to be kind of at the peak when the Island Boys. You've seen it, right? They're making out now.
I have
for
not
clout.
seen it. I know who they are, and it doesn't
They made
surprise
out. They're
me.
basically at the tail end of their career, where now they're like, just to drum up any sort of attention, they made out with each
They're
other.
jumping the shark. Yeah.
It can't go much crazier than that, though. I think it's only one step further. Is like everyone's doing OnlyFans. That's the only like next step.
But also, yeah, I mean, what the internet did was it gave a lot of people a taste of fame who have zero talent,
Yeah.
zero at all.
Oh, for sure.
Zero
Yeah.
or anything interesting to say. So they get a taste of it, and then when they feel it slipping away, the only thing left you can do is just like make out with your twin brother
Yeah.
to try to get something cooking.
I mean, we always talk about that.
Yeah.
You ever see that fat Turkish dude who just dances to that
Yeah,
song? That guy
Sipping
gets,
it up, boop, boop,
that guy
That's
literally
the song. Yeah, How
That
do you
guy
know?
was like a fucking farmer
Yeah.
in somewhere like in rural Turkey. He gets 50 million views on anything he does.
Yeah.
Like 50 million people.
That's the song.
Yeah.
And you know what the crazy part is? The band who does that song is way less famous than him. And they should be way more famous than
Right,
him.
it's very
Like,
strange.
it's the song
A
is
lot
like
of streams, though. No.
probably a lot of streams, but you're like, what's their name?
You don't know who they are?
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know his name
I guess you
either,
don't know
though.
his name.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
a
know.
fat Turkish guy. But yeah, it's and when that starts to slip away from him, he'll probably make out with his brother or
Probably.
whatever, just to be like, you know, it's the ultimate elixir. I mean, fucking fame.
know.
Oh,
Do you know how much Dylan Mulvaney makes for her speeches now after the whole debacle?
How much?
So she's rep by CIA because there was some like backlash about it or whatever, which I don't know why that would have backlash.
Can I just give?
Do you know how much it is?
No, but can I just give
Okay.
5 seconds for everybody watching just to type their comments right now?
Yeah, get it in.
just get it in. Just get it in.
You know what's funny? I bet you CAA reps her and Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
dude.
Probably something like that.
100%. They rep Jordan Peterson.
There you go.
So it's probably like,
Yeah.
yo, imagine like they're taking calls from Dylan, baby. We're putting you on the girls tour. Jordan, these people are.
Yeah, these trans people are real nutty. You're onto something, man. Biological sex is. It's static, man. It's stone, baby. It's the way God intended. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, Bubba. What kind of arenas do you want to do now, new wave priest? You are my favorite new wave priest.
They've got 2 emails, one with a he, him, one without it.
Libby, hold on one second. Dylan, what's up? You know what it is, man. Just living in a diverse world, trying to make the world a better place, trying to protect disenfranchised people and protect trans youth. What's going on with you, sweetheart? Hold on. Jordy, baby. Heil Hitler, buddy. What's going on? My room is clean. Well, yeah, let's get that fucking dinero.
Oh fuck.
It's nobody's who they seem to be. No. Integrity's kind of in short order right now.
Yeah. People are definitely willing to trade it off for some short-term money.
Because it's like, yeah, it would just be nice if people were just honest about it. If it would be a little honesty about that, wouldn't that be nice? Be like, hey, I'm a piece of shit.
I've always said one of the reasons, even on top of the fact that it's like you just prefer the honesty, at least I know how to like place this person.
Right.
When the person, they're lying and won't admit they're lying, it's like you don't even know what to do with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you have a guy that you know, he's like, yeah, I got to say all that shit, but I don't think of it. It's like, okay, well, at least I know who I'm dealing with.
Right.
The other one just like stresses me out or something.
Yeah, it's just it's uncomfortable because you don't know who they are. Everyone's kind of become very good at marketing. It's like I talk to some of my friends and I feel like I'm on the phone with the marketing department of the Gap. They're like, I'm just hammering away at this demographic. I got to get 4 clips up. You know, my brand's really going good right now.
I mean, literally,
my Patreon numbers are through the. I'm like, do you work? Am I talking to the Gap right now?
The crazy thing is that's only as of the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like none of this really was like this.
That's your buddy that installs hoses.
Yeah. You know, I got to get my podcast going about my hose business. Everyone's like, it's really become, every marketing is ubiquitous, man. Content. And people are starting to learn all those Madison Avenue tricks.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
This was great, dude. Thank you.
This was so much fun.
You're the man.
The BOYSCAST went out.
The sign went out.
Oh, the sign went out?
Yeah, I kept plugging it back in, but it kept going back out. It's too taut.
Yeah.
You got a theater
taut.
tour coming out, which is fucking awesome. And
Yeah.
the where was the one you did the Wilbur?
I did the Wilbur. It
Dude,
was
you've been
great.
selling tickets. It's fucking awesome.
Yes, you know, certain places. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be at the Paramount. Yeah, I'm doing Toronto.
Where are you doing in
March.
Toronto?
The theater. The what's it called?
The Royal?
The Royal Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, doing that in March in Toronto. And New York. It's New York City, Sony Hall, Red Bank, the Vogel, and the Paramount's coming up. You're putting this out soon, right?
Yeah. Friday.
Long Island. Yeah, Long Island. There's very few tickets left. August 17th in Huntington, Long Island, the Paramount. And then a whole bunch of Cobb's in San Francisco, a bunch of other dates. My podcast, Yannis Papas Hour.
Gave me my name back.
Huh?
Because your podcast, I said you gave me my name back.
How? What do you mean?
Long days.
Oh, yeah, it's yours now again. Yeah, I changed the name. Ryan Long. So Yannis Papas Hour, and YannisPapasComedy.com for tickets for my tour.
Bonus episode every week, patreon.com/theboyscast. We are a couple hundred away from Bugman versus Bugman.
Literal eating competition between the two of us.
Yeah, we're doing it. All right. Come check us out. See you on the Patreon. Peace.
Later.